If I could go back in time and give myself a few pieces of advice before becoming a photographer, it would be probably so many things. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about 7 things that I wish I knew before becoming a photographer. When I first got started with photography, I definitely made a few mistakes, from obsessing over the newest gear or the newest presets, or not knowing the best lighting to shoot in, and even getting taken advantage of by clients sometimes. But if you are just getting started or even already shooting, I wanted to share 7 things that I wish I knew before becoming a photographer. Things that will save you frustration, time, and might even help you reach more photography success as a beginner. So let's get into it. Starting off with number 1, gear is not the most important thing as a beginner photographer. I used to think that if I had the latest gear, the newest camera body, the best lens, that automatically my photos would be amazing. That would definitely be a lie. The truth is that your skills and your understanding of light and composition and storytelling, how to tell a story through your photography, is much more important than the type of gear that you have. I have seen some of the coolest photographs taken from a point and shoot camera or even your iPhone, and I've also seen some photos that were taken with the newest gear that could definitely be better. It's kind of like if you have a Ferrari, that doesn't automatically mean you're a better driver. I look back at some of my older work and I've definitely taken some of my favorite photos with a beginner camera, and I've definitely upgraded since then, but as long as you're putting in time to understand other aspects of photography beside the gear part of it, then you're going to be so successful as a photographer. So do not stress about having the best gear, just focus on learning the photography fundamentals first. Okay, number 2, learn how to use presets properly. Presets are amazing for your photos, and they can definitely make the editing process a lot easier. However, here is the mistake that I made. I thought that once I purchased someone's presets from a photographer that I really liked and then applied them to my photography, that my photo would be amazing. And also, that is not the case. You have to actually learn how the preset works, and just applying a preset does not mean that your photo is done, is perfect. In some cases it might be, but for the most part, every photo is still going to need tweaks even if you use a preset on them. Presets are just a starting point because every photo has different lighting, different colors, different contrast, and so you're still going to need to tweak the preset to fit your image. And also, instead of relying on a preset by itself, you should really take time to go into Lightroom and learn the S-curve and the white balance of your images and color grading to help make your edits, because then once you kind of have more of a foundation of how to edit and use Lightroom, then you can, I feel like, buy presets and then tweak those presets to make your photos amazing. I personally sell my own presets. I have a few presets available on my website. I will link those in the description. And one of my most asked questions is, why do my photos not look like yours when I apply the preset? And that is because every photographer has a different way of shooting, and my way of shooting photos is different from some of my other photographer friends' way of shooting. So I have to explain to people that presets literally are just a base, and they help you kind of see what direction you want to go with the image. And I have a few presets that I haven't even released that I still use every single day myself when I'm editing a photo. I will use it as a base. It'll look terrible, but that helps give me a sense of direction on where I want to go from there with the image. Number 3, try different photography styles. When I first started photography, my very first camera was not really a camera, it was an iPad mini, and I would take my iPad into my backyard and take photos of flowers, and then I kind of started doing some landscape stuff, but never really felt like landscape photography was for me. And so when I got into middle school and high school, started taking photos of my friends and started offering senior photos, and I really started to fall in love with portrait photography. But what I realized is that being an artist is fluid. If you scroll all the way to the bottom of my Instagram, you will see such a style change. I really loved the warm tones. I loved doing traditional work. I grew up in a smaller town and there weren't really a lot of opportunities there, and so I always try to challenge myself with my photography by what can I do that's outside of the box, and what are people not really doing that I can do. I started leaning into more like editorial work and stuff that is just overall more creative. And if you look at my Instagram and scroll all the way down, you'll definitely see a clear contrast. I don't think you have to stick to one niche forever. Experimenting helps you find what you love and also what you don't love. And so before I moved to a bigger city, I was kind of doing a little bit of traditional work while still trying to do my creative work. And then coming into this bigger city, I kind of realized that I kind of want to stop doing traditional work altogether because that's just not where my creativity is. And so as an artist, your style will change. It'll be more fluid. My editing changes all the time. Like I feel like I have different editing styles for a lot of the photos I edit. So try different styles, figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like, and then go from there. And if you are unsure what style to focus on, literally try everything. Try and find photographers whose photos you like and try and recreate those. That's what I did. I would find photographers I really liked and try to recreate those photos to help kind of learn how they shoot and how they color grade, and then from there you can create your own ideas too. And I'm not a beginner photographer anymore, but I still feel like there are so many things that I'm still learning every single day. Like I don't see my current style right now staying forever. I definitely see myself evolving and changing, but kind of bringing bits and pieces of it with me as I go. But being an artist is fluid. Don't be afraid to change your style and also experiment with so many things. Okay, number 4, and this one is a huge one to me just because I feel like I'm still kind of learning this today and I'm still dealing with it every single day that I get a new client or someone reaching out to me. Early on, I definitely made the mistake of accepting exposure as payment. And yeah, back in 2016, that might have worked where I work with an influencer and I get 5,000 followers from a simple tag on Instagram, but it is 2025. That is simply not the case anymore. And also, I feel like I definitely underpriced myself. One, because of the city I was in, I didn't want to overprice myself to where no one would work with me and I'd still get bookings, but I also underpriced myself because I was afraid to charge what my photography was actually worth, and I wanted to get paid and I didn't want to like have people be like, why are you charging this much for your photography? However, ever since I raised my rates to a drastic change, I have kind of weeded out a lot of the clients that were more difficult to work with. No offense to them, but raising my rates, as weird as it may sound, I have started working with my dream clients who value my work, value my creativity, and a lot of the time they're like, we just want to pay you to come up with a shoot that you want to do. So I get paid to do any creative shoot that I want to do. So it's definitely the best of everything. Clients will always try to undervalue your work. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is as an artist. We value our work more than others might, but you need to let them know your worth. Set your prices, use contracts, and don't be afraid to say no to free work. It's super hard as an artist because we love our jobs so much that none of it ever feels like work. So sometimes you have to like kind of tap into your business brain a little bit and remember, wait, I'm running a business. I do need money to survive. So don't be afraid to say no to free work. Your photography skills have value. If a brand or a client or even influencers, if they can afford to pay others, they can definitely afford to pay you for your work. Especially because photos last forever. You don't just pay for it once like photos last forever. You have them for a lifetime. Don't let clients walk all over you. There have been several times that I have worked for exposure, which I will never again do that. But when I was younger and I was working for exposure, I have waited for influencers and clients to show up for an hour to 2 hours, and some of them weren't even ready to go by the time they arrived because I still shot with these people because I thought it would be like a cool experience, which definitely was. And I've worked with some brands too that definitely undercharged. Yes, it was a good experience, but still undercharged. So yeah, just know your worth, because looking back, I could have made so much money that I haven't because I worked for free. But moving on to number 5. Number 5. This is a really important one to me, but it would be utilize social media to your advantage. Social media is a game changer for photographers if you use it in the right way. I think that a lot of social media is changing to video, which I used to be opposed to. If you search Joshua Manila online, there's an article where I talked about how I was against Instagram Reels when that first kind of became a thing. But if you follow me, you know that I post 1 to 2 times a day on Instagram and TikTok, and now it's like my favorite thing. I love creating content for that. I love getting behind the scenes content for that, and it makes me think of these photos in a different way because I can make so many different types of videos for the same photos, if that makes sense. I also believed that if your post didn't perform well, I used to think that my photos sucked. Not true, because a lot of my favorite images did not perform well, and that is simply not my fault as a photographer. It is the algorithms, unfortunately. You just kind of have to hunker down. The algorithm is unpredictable. Short form video, super important. So Instagram Reels, TikTok, even YouTube Shorts I post a lot on are crucial to growing online. Most of my followers have come from Instagram Reels and TikTok, and so I think it is crucial to learn photography, but also know how to create videos off of your photography to then promote your business. So if any of that makes sense. And also, I do a lot of Instagram and TikTok, but now I'm kind of bringing my platform to YouTube because, I don't know, I feel like deep down I've always wanted to kind of be a YouTuber. And so, yeah, I just think it's super fun to kind of think about my photography business in a way and help you guys bring success to your businesses. Okay, number 6 is, I feel like I keep saying all of these are important, but this one definitely is important as a photographer because photography literally relies on this to its core. That would be learn lighting. So midday versus golden hour versus blue hour. All of these are super important in your success as a photographer. I do a lot of my shoots at golden hour, which is the hour right before the sun sets. And then I kind of lean into blue hour a little bit for like that nice blue kind of clean lighting look. I'm filming right now at midday and it's also partly cloudy. So when you watch this video, it might be kind of like spotty. I've done a lot of photo shoots at midday because I was like, oh, it's so bright, like it'll be easier to see the client. Like, that's stupid, Josh. Literally take that whole thing and put it in the trash. But so golden hour before, like an hour before sunrise or an hour before the sun sets is my favorite time to shoot. I love shooting with backlit lighting because it just gives the photo a nice golden soft glow, and I definitely think my style is a lot of that. Learning how to shoot in midday is also really important too, because when the sun is overhead, it makes it super hard to kind of like figure out where the shadows are and everything, and also it can look really unflattering. So if you can learn how to shoot in midday, and then also sometimes even right before the sun goes, like right when the sun goes down, it's kind of dark a little bit, you can shoot in all these lighting scenarios, you will be unstoppable as a photographer. I look back at some of my older work where I shot at midday and I'm like, why would I post this online? First of all. Second of all, you can't even see half their face because half of it is like super bright and half of it's super shadowy. So learning your lighting is super important. I also would recommend using a reflector sometimes. Some of my favorite photos I have done actually at midday. If you have that sun coming from behind and you have the reflector, it gives it a super cool, like magazine almost looking look. So definitely play around with reflectors and diffusers and play around with all the different types of lighting when it comes to your photography. Okay, tip number 7, the final tip of this video, that would be find your own style, but also be patient. I've made a few TikToks and a few Instagram Reels that are like my photography then versus my photography now, and a lot of my comments are, well, how long did it take you to find this style? And I don't have an exact number for that because my style has kind of just been evolving since I've started photography. I just think it takes time, and you have to figure out what you like and what you like to create to help kind of make your style your own. And a lot of people kind of know me for my dreamy cinematic photography edits. So definitely don't rush it. And if you're a beginner photographer and you're not getting results that you like immediately, I hate to be blunt, but sometimes it takes a few years. Like, I've been doing photography for I think 7 years now as a professional, and like my photography style has evolved so many times, and I definitely have said this a bunch of times. So when you're starting out as a photographer, it's super easy to compare yourself to other photographers, and even at my stage in photography now, I definitely find myself still doing this. But I need to remember that 1, everyone is on their own path, and 2, we're all artists, all of our styles are different. And yeah, it's also super fun to become friends with other photographers because then you kind of like learn their styles and learn how they shoot, and it's just a super interesting way to kind of bring it all together and kind of use bits and pieces to create your own style. So keep experimenting, keep learning, and most importantly, keep on shooting. Okay, I hope this video helped you guys avoid some of the mistakes that I made when I first started my photography business. If you found this video helpful, please drop a like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments which tip you found most helpful. All right, well, like and subscribe, and thank you guys so much for watching.